All right, good afternoon. It is November. We are in the early stages of the throes of the end of the season, and this is the final turfgrass team times. Online today, we've got Dr. Dave Gardner, myself, Ed Nangle, and Dr. Tyler Carr, or almost Dr. Tyler
Oh
Carr.
yeah,
Excuse me.
let's not count our chickens before they hatch over here, Ed.
All right. Tyler's coming in as the replacement for the inimitable Dr. John Street, so he's going to have a lot to live up to. Um, we're going to do a wrap up on a couple of things just from my end. We've probably gotten lucky with the way the season has finished. It seemed like it was starting to cool down pretty quick, but we've probably gotten an extension on growing conditions for another week or 10 days with the weather forecast, and possibly people have seen more golf activity. On top of that, we did see some disease activity. There was Waitia at one of the golf courses we were on lately in the Worcester area, but nothing else of major concern. Nighttime temperatures really have kind of suppressed a lot of problems. Potentially some microdochium walking around if we see more moisture and cloudy conditions continue to develop, but nothing overly frustrating in the northern parts of the state anyway. From the standpoint of our scholarship outing, very successful. We'd like to thank all of our supporters. We hope that everybody had a good day. Upcoming, the Ohio Turfgrass Foundation conference and show, December 6th through 8th. And I will tell you folks that it's loaded. We have Kevin Frank coming in from Michigan State. We've got Dr. Gardner, and Tyler's going to be there as well as part of an OSU panel. We've got a host of other speakers, including Steve McDonald coming in off the East Coast, and Dr. Michelle DaCosta coming in from UMass, amongst many exciting people. So get involved, get registered, and make sure that, again, it's a very strong show. With that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Dave Gardner. Dr. Gardner, herbicides update.
Greetings, folks. I just want to add that there's a couple of pre-conference sessions on December 5th that are also worth checking out. But let's talk a little bit about herbicides. It's never too late in the season to well, eventually it will be too late in the season, but right now we're still in a good time to be considering all things herbicide. At this time, if you had tropical grasses like crabgrass, they are purple. If you had savanna grasses like nimblewill, they are straw brown. And the cool season grass is still green. But my point is you can go out and you can scout and figure out where it is that you should put down a pre-emergence herbicide next year if you had a problem with crabgrass. Now, that said, we're starting to see an increasing amount of goosegrass in this state. And this is a weed that is more prevalent in the South. In fact, if you look at surveys by completed by golf course superintendents, they will tend to say that goosegrass is a bigger problem for them than crabgrass is. We don't have it as much in Ohio, but because things are shifting north, we're starting to see more goosegrass. In fact, this was the first year ever that I could have done a goosegrass trial at the OTF Center. We had enough of it. But my point in telling you this is that one of the products that we mainly use to control goosegrass is oxadiazone, originally marketed as Chipko Ronstar. And that's because goosegrass has resistance to the pre-emergence herbicides that we normally use for crabgrass, the dinitroanilins, and then also dithiopyr. And so because of that, where people have a problem with goosegrass, oxadiazone is one of the products that they use. So on warm season turf, sod farms, golf courses, athletic fields, there are spray and granule formulations. In cool season turf, this product is a little hot on perennial ryegrass, and because of that, we tend to only see it on fertilizer when it's used in cool season turf. There are some other alternatives for goosegrass control, but this is one of the main ones that is being used right now, which is perhaps a problem because they've decided that it's a carcinogen, likely to cause cancer, I think is the way that they classified that. And so the EPA has made some changes to the way that you can use this. It is now classified as a restricted use pesticide. They reduced the use rate that is permitted per year. In the interest of time, I'm going to forward through these probably quicker than I should given the amount of text on the slide, but that's the beauty of a recording. You can pause it and read it later. Okay. On golf courses, they've restricted it to certain areas that are the most heavily infested. They allow a little bit heavier use rate on golf courses compared to other areas. But the interesting decision, given what they found out about this product, is that for now, they're going to continue allowing its use on athletic fields, parks, institutional turf, and etc. Originally, it was going to only be allowed for use on golf courses, but they're going to allow it to be used on other turf areas pending a review of the required studies regarding the transfer of residues in light of the new labeling requirements. So anyway, this is a product, if you have goosegrass, that is effective, but also it has some issues, and so you need to be aware of those and keep abreast of them in the news. Also, for folks probably more in the Cincinnati area than the rest of Ohio, there is a new herbicide, Celsius Extra from Bayer, which is a combination of thiacarbazone, iodosulfuron, and halosulfuron. Great weed control spectrum, but only for use on Bermuda grass, zoysia grass, and buffalo grass. So again, outside of the Cincinnati and perhaps Dayton area, you're probably not going to want to use this. Okay, but for those of you that are managing zoysia grass turf, new herbicide that's fairly broad spectrum. Okay, and there are some potential other herbicides that are under EPA review, different combination products, which I don't know, to me, it's like some of these are going to be pretty useful, but we've already got 44 different combinations of herbicides, and this is just going to grow that list to 48 of the 18 active ingredients that are available for use in post-emergence weed management. As these become officially registered, I'll give some updates more specifically about their potential uses and advantages. As far as winter annuals go, you should see these starting to germinate. Next spring, they'll look more like this: purple dead nettle, common chickweed, henbit, hairy bittercrest. All right. It's a little too late to put down a pre-emergence herbicide if you can see them right, but post-emergence control now is better than attempting to control them post-emergence next spring. After they've hardened off due to cold stress, they tend to be pretty resistant to a lot of the products that we use to control weeds and turf. The other thing to consider, if you are going to control broadleaf weeds now, either winter annuals or perennials for that matter, make sure that you're using the ester formulation. You can find that on the label. Okay, those are the ones that are more effective in cooler weather. Generally, we don't recommend those above 70 degrees, but in cooler weather, they tend to be the more effective products. And in fact, as far as how cold can it be before they lose effectiveness, with esters, as long as the nighttime temperature is above freezing and the daytime temperature is above 45, and the soil temperature is above 45, you can get reasonably good activity with these products. So I like to show this picture a lot. This is a plot that I sprayed on the 20th of November one year. It was about 45 degrees and misting, and this is what it looked like the following spring, and you can see that there isn't a single broadleaf weed there, plenty of dandelions in bloom around it. This area stayed weed free until the following October because the herbicide was able to translocate below ground and give you more permanent control of those perennials, right? When you apply in the springtime, you get the top growth and then the plant regenerates. Fall applications tend to be much more, I don't know, long lasting. I don't want to say permanent, but long lasting. And again, as long as the daytime temperatures are above 45 and the nighttime temperatures are above 32, you can continue to use ester-based herbicides, in a year like this, probably into the second or even third week of November. Ed, that's what I have for today.
Dr. Gardner, very much appreciated. One question, we've had a relatively dry fall. Do you think there's been suppression on the winter annual germination?
There certainly has, which is good news for everybody. It's not necessarily good news for me because I had this funded trial out at the OTF Center that relied on me getting a bunch of winter annuals. And so in plots where I killed off the grass with Roundup and mowed it down to 1/2 inch to try to encourage germination, I've got nothing. So I'm assuming that this is going to be, I think it was in the top 10 driest Octobers, at least in the Columbus area. So yeah, that probably tamped down the pressure, but with the weather that we're having now, certainly they can continue to germinate here for the next couple of weeks, I would think.
So is there any benefit to putting a pre out right now if you're a little late?
I would say it's probably a little late, but yeah, I would rely on post at this point. I mean, even if you don't see anything, if you don't see anything here in a couple of weeks, I would think that you probably got lucky and you're not going to have anything, period. So that pre-emerge is only going to really be necessary for the next week or two. And then after that, I can't imagine much is going to germinate by the time we get to Thanksgiving for sure. So.
All right. Making his debut, Tyler Carr. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks,
Bravo.
guys. So I've been fortunate to have, since I'm in Knoxville currently, finishing up my PhD at Tennessee. I've been fortunate to have some folks in the Columbus area sharing photos with me of the renovation that's going on at the OTF Center. For those of you who don't know, ripping out a 300 by 60 foot area of Pencross. Is it Pencross that was there originally, guys? Pencross, and putting in some more modern bent grasses. So I just have a couple photos that I was provided that kind of show this cool process. So we have a, like I said, it's a 60 by 300 foot area with some modern bent grasses in here. We have some large areas for different types of management trials, fertilizer trials, different types of product evaluations. And then on the left, we have a smaller area with 20 by 15 foot plots that allow us to have, which it's cut off at the bottom, that's okay, 12 different cultivars, so that we can evaluate these different cultivars or do different trials to evaluate cultivars. Similar to the setup that they are going to have up in Worcester, using some of the same cultivars, so that we can kind of see how these grasses respond in Columbus and in Worcester. And this will also give practitioners an opportunity to see these grasses in action, and see how they respond to management practices in our area. And these were seeded recently, I believe in the last week or so. We're fortunate to have, is it Sam from AquaAid? What's Sam's last name, guys?
Sam Stimmel. Thank you, Sam.
Sam Stimmel. Yeah, thanks, Sam, for letting us borrow this small Variedo to get these larger plots seeded. And so hopefully these will be covered up with these warmer temperatures. Hopefully we can get a little germination and some good establishment. We won't have to do much reseeding over the winter or into the spring, but we're excited about this. This has been a lot. This has been in the works since before I was a part of this team. So I'm excited to have this infrastructure to be able to help serve everyone in Ohio. So that's pretty much all I have from a.
It is pretty exciting, though. I mean, I've been here for 22 years, and we had some USGA style putting greens that were a little bit smaller that we could do research on, but they kind of became antiquated and not so useful. And so that large bentgrass area is on native soil, and so a big part of that renovation was to put it on sand. And so that's going to make it so that we can do research that's a lot more approximate of what folks are going to see out in the real world, I guess.
Yeah, just one other point there. Ryan DeMay, the current OTF president, deserves a lot of thanks for all his efforts on that. Whether it was getting people and funding together. He's been very, very helpful this past 12 months. And just to follow up on that, the green in Worcester is germinated. We're getting establishment. It actually got his first mow yesterday. And Dr. Petrella, who's not on today, but his ODA trials have all germinated, gone through establishment, along with his 2 NTEP trials as well, all making progress. So again, a lot of activity starting to ramp back up, post-COVID, post changes on the faculty, and we're definitely starting to look forward to a lot more activity going on. With that, we will wrap it up, and we'd like to say thank you to everybody for their questions and inputs this year. If there are any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We will get back to you.
Or come to the conference and ask us there.
Right.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting a lot of folks there.
Shameless plug. Tyler will be down there at that stage. And further to that, we'll be back again next year. Usually we run a couple of events in the spring, and then get into the weekly events during the summer. But if there's anything you'd like to see changed with the Turf Team Times, if there's more live events or more stuff in the field, just let us know. We'll try and make it work out to give you guys and gals the opportunity to interact and get these these questions answered, hopefully in a helpful manner. with that, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the season.